I really don't have anything much planned to talk about today, but I feel like I need to connect. I have this pattern that when I'm out online sharing, I get so high and I feel so amazed, amazing to be connecting with you guys, and especially in the energy of everything that's happening right now. It just feels like the most wild ride in a good way, mostly. But as soon as I spend some time like going back in and I'm not online for even a little while, it's a bit hard for me to get back. So I'm committed because I want to really be connecting in this energy. So here I am. Anyway, I want to just talk a little bit about what's coming up, what's next, and this idea of launching out of Passover, out of Pesach. So the way it feels to me, and this is really every year, but this year is like PLF, like 1,000-fold. If you ever have seen one of those rides in an amusement park or maybe even a slide, where you're going down, 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 faster and faster and faster, and then you reach the end and you take off over the water. That's what I mean by launching out of Passover, launching out of Pesach, because we were in a certain bubble. You see, Pesach, the idea of it and the energy of it and the accomplishment of it is that it creates a completely new space, a completely new energy, like a launching off for total transformation, for miracles and redemption, both for individuals and for the world at large. So I always, within, let's say, a few weeks after Pesach is over, after Passover is over, always I experience some kind of major shift, like some big thing opens up in a good way, some new huge opportunity or some deep enlightenment and influx of confidence and energy and whatever it is. But likewise, the world. And more than ever before, now more than ever before, what happens in the world and what happens within us is intertwined in invisible, obvious ways. So, in other words, our consciousness co-creates big time. And then the world that gets co-created by all of our consciousness together influences us, brings us more potential. The problem is that consciousness means choice. And when we're not conscious, we really don't have the choice. But all the time, whether we're conscious or not, we are co-creating. So when we co-create, when we're living in fear, or we're living checked out, or confusion, overwhelm, or whatever, distraction. So whatever we create isn't necessarily what we want, but more of the time it's more like what we don't want, what we then feel like victims of. So it's a huge opportunity and really an imperative right now and always in this phase of history to continuously do what you need to do to grow in consciousness. And that's not just information that you learn, that's information that you integrate, tools that you master, brain wiring change, cell receptors that you change. And that is really the call of the hour. And it does mean learning new things, feeding your brain with new information. It does mean connecting with a new kind of community. Maybe a lot of people here are doing both of those things already. It does mean learning, in my opinion, what the blueprint for creation has to say about these times, because it's prophetic, because it's the blueprint, like any blueprint. It's the owner's manual, the user's manual for human beings on planet Earth, and especially in these times. So you want to learn that. It doesn't mean learning and mastering some of the tools that are available for enlightenment, for consciousness, for power, to disentangle relationships, to heal old traumas, to literally have a miraculous impact on our health, on other people's health, on our prosperity. And there's so many of these tools because, like the Zohar says, in talking about these times, that there will be a release of divine wisdom into the world, heavenly wisdom, together with an opening like the flood of Noah. And the flood of Noah, the Torah describes that there were the heavens opened up and flooded the world, but also water came from under the earth. There's water under the earth. Originally, when the earth was created, actually, when the world was created, it was the whole surface of the earth was water. That's why it says in the Bible that God separated the water from the dry land. So he picked up some of the dry land that became our continents, even though they may be different now than they were before. I don't know, but that's how it happened. So all that water is in a layer under the earth. You call it the Mayan, the wellspring, or the underground aquifer, the water table. And that's why when you dig for a well, when you start to dig, if you dig deep enough, you're gonna, hi Gila, you're gonna hit water. Sometimes it takes, sometimes it's just a few shovelfuls, right? And sometimes it is a much deeper digging, hundreds of feet, but always it's just because the water comes like a trunk of a tree. If there's this underground lake, ocean, and then the water's like coming, it's like it's not flowing, but it's sitting in these veins and branches. So when you hit water really quickly, you're hitting an upper branch. Like imagine a tree. The screen's not big enough, but holding its branches out like that. So maybe you'll hit the finger of the little branch of the tree, and you'll get a well right away. But when you hit deeper, more toward the trunk, then you have, as actually the mystical Torah says, that then the water is much more pure and much more forceful. The water, by the way, corresponds to divine consciousness, our own inner consciousness. So when we dig and work out, like get rid of some of our old limiting beliefs, our, disentangle or heal our old traumas, these are the tools and techniques that I'm talking about that are part of the wisdom pouring up from the earth, like the Zohar describes, like happened in the days of Noah, but now it's happening in a level of consciousness and miracles. So that enables us, as we get rid of, dig for a well, that means we're digging out from all of our crap, excuse my language, to uncover who we really are and the flow of who and what we really are and where we come from, what we're connected to. And that it creates a flow of water, godliness from the inside. Just a little explanation. But I said this was going to be short. I just want to let you know about a couple of things. So first of all, that idea of launching, it's not an idea, it's a reality. Launching out of Passover, launching out of Pesach into the unfolding, I want to say unknown, but it's not unknown like we have no idea where we're going. We know where we're going. Like I talked about before this last part of Passover holiday began, I talked about positive prophecy, negative prophecy. Positive prophecy is God's vision. That's where we're going. That's where we're going. Negative prophecy is like, oops. Like my brother, used to, at one point he lived in California, and he would visit New Jersey, and he took my kids out in this rental car that he had, and it was a while ago. So like the GPS that talked was like a big deal, and it would be like, no, you have to stop. You have taken a wrong turn. Go back. Anyway, so that's what the negative prophecies are like, and they do contain an incredible spiritual potential that we are here to download, but it doesn't have to be through negativity. It just has to be through awakening. That's what this is about. So here's one of my two announcements. The first one is starting on Tuesday, this Tuesday, in just a few days, April 18th, I'm going to be doing a 3-day event online. It's free, and you can sign up there's a link under the YouTube, but you can sign up at gateofunity.com/summit, SUMMIT, it has to be lowercase, and you'll have access to, right now, there's 16 speakers. If I'm going to add another one or not, I'm not sure. All of them chosen because some of them are Torah-based, some of them are not especially, but all of them believe and live with the practice of miracles and activating miracles, whether in healing or in consciousness or in any other area, finances. So that's a don't miss. And the replays will be up through the end of the weekend, this coming weekend. So is that like 9 days from now? But if you can be there live, because you get to ask questions and interact with us. And I'm going to be doing some prayer in between and some cool things in between sessions. But each of the speakers, is such a leader in and of him or herself. And many will be offering meditations and literal healings and tools that you can practice to start to generate consciously generate and co-create a miraculous experience. So I really believe in this, and I live with this, and I teach this in my programs, and I practice it in my life. And it's been, a process. I started to get connected with the idea of consciously generating miracles, especially in healing, but not only. Probably, let me think. It's like 16 years ago, and then maybe like 2007, 8, and then it ramped up when I started doing summits, hosting telesummits like the one I'm doing now, but I did it as a thing. That was my living, how I made a living for between 2010, 2014, where I just had I had the opportunity to interview, to dialogue with world famous leaders, thought leaders, spiritual leaders, innovators of healing modalities. A couple of my most notable, I did interview once Ed Mitchell, astronaut, Apollo 11. That was really fun. James Redfield of Celestine Prophecies, and those are some of the less like necessarily healing in the healing space. Many of the world renowned in the energy healing space, pioneers and leaders of modalities and authors of books and whatever. So I swim in this, and it's real. And it's not just for healing the body. We have the ability, and therefore we have the obligation to perfect and hone that ability, to be part of the solution, to bring when we find an obstacle or challenge, whether it's in our body or whether it's in the world, to find a way to go deeper and activate more of the miraculous divine light and power of the soul. And that's actually the purpose of every challenge and obstacle, to do exactly that. So that's number one. So if you are interested, please join us. Please share with your friends. gateofunity.com/summit. I'm late. Usually I plan a summit like 6-8 weeks ahead of time. This one I planned like 2 weeks before Passover, and then that those holidays came in between. So I don't have a whole lot of time to share with people so that people find out about it. So I would consider it a very great assistance for me and for you if you would share with the people in your life that free sign up option. Anyway, you can find out more by going to gateofunity.com/summit. That said, just another little heads up, and this one is much more amorphous. It's not nearly as planned, but I got triggered on Tuesday, right before the holiday. I got deeply triggered. I mentioned this when I did my live stream because I started reading about like threats from Iran and their proxies, and in general, when you live in Israel, when you're in Israel, I noticed it at first, like intensely. Yes, I will, Gila, thank you. I noticed it intensely when I first moved to Israel, like the first couple of years, and I would sit on my porch in Jerusalem, and it would all be like so beautiful and peaceful most of the time, and I'd look in front of me, and at the whatever, toward the east, toward the Temple Mount, and beyond the mountains there, beyond, I guess that's Jordan, and then to the right, which was up north, which if you go a little farther up north, right now I'm a lot closer to up north, you have Lebanon and Syria and the Golan Heights, and like that, south, Gaza, and Israel's very small, and it's surrounded by a lot of people that don't love us. The cause of that, to be discussed in the future, but that's the case anyway. And I would feel like, wow, it's so peaceful here, and you could feel like you're in a bubble of divine protection. And sometimes something like tragically recently, a number of things have gotten through that bubble. And again, it's beyond the scope of what I want to do today, to talk about what's actually going on and what my beliefs are on that. And also, as we all always have to know that God is behind everything. And that is true. Some things Hasidus Kabbalah describes this, that some things God does, like when you love someone and you want to give them something, you're looking in their face and you're smiling and your heart's open and you're giving it to them. When you need to give them something and you don't like them, you'll do it like behind it, throw it like. And so it's described that certain things God does that he doesn't want to do, but it's necessary, like negative prophecies. I'm not voting for any of it, because I believe God has, I'm always praying like, you can do this anyway. Please do this in a way that wakes us up gently and lovingly. But we're partners here. We're part of it. Anyway, so I got triggered. I got nervous. I got upset. And then, like has happened to me quite a few times in my past, as my mind starts to ask, like, what could I do? Is there something we could do? Because if the idea is the positive prophecy, if the idea is the wake up, is there something we could do to facilitate that wake up of our own accord, to wake ourselves up, to wake other people up? So, that, because reality is super malleable, and there's no doubt in my mind about that. I see it all the time. but it's not, we don't get to just wish that something will be a certain way and then it necessarily is, because we are in this relationship and we do have to change. We are caterpillar changing into butterfly, and we have to change and we have to participate. Anyway, so it came to me that we could, and I did mention this in my last live, that we can create a women's army. I don't love the term, so I have already worked on it a bit with a few friends in the last meal of Passover, known as Mashiach Suda, the meal of the Messianic meal. So we did some brainstorming there and some praying, and I'll share that with you in a moment, and a lot more to come next week. But and it doesn't have to be only for women, but the idea is that we want to get together in certain formats and to pray and to envision the positive prophecies, to pray for the revealed good of everybody, to brainstorm ways to help wake people up gently, to do spiritual things to help to keep the movement going in the ways that we want it to go. And we're even thinking of maybe having some kind of merchandise. I don't know about this specifically, but I know that they're like, that's probably the wrong word, but print on demand, like services where like people can print T-shirts on demand according to certain design, or cups or pens or a necklace or a badge, membership badge. So I'm interested in I'll be talking to a few people about this soon, and then we'll officially announce and maybe open for people to help with your talents. Like even a small group of us, if you took each one of our talents and resources, it would be like a world. If you take a larger group of us, how much more so? So we're going to want to do this like a movement. I think the name of it is #HumanityRising. Do you guys like that? There are not so many people on live, but you can keep giving me feedback when you listen to the replay also. Humanity Rising. I like it very much. And certainly men can join as well, but I think it should be a women's movement per se, because there's something very special about that, both spiritually and socially. And then men can also be part of it to support. It's for all human beings. Humanity Rising. And we are rising to our next stage and to our new level. All right, so I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And if you would like to be a part of it, just really stay tuned and start thinking about how you would, what you would like to see, how, perhaps some ideas of how to let people know about it that maybe I haven't thought of. And let's just, if it feels like time for you, because when one of us has the power to change the world. Maimonides says, I keep mentioning this, that every person has to look at the world as like balance, like a balance scales between destruction and salvation, equally balanced, so that a person's one good action or even one good word or even one good thought will tip the scale, and then the whole world goes into salvation, into redemption. But that's one person. But what about when we get two people together? And what about when two people get together and strategically discuss what can we do, to up our game? What can we do to provide more energy, to put more energy into the world of divinity, of goodness, of unity, of spirituality, of prosperity, of, that there were so many of the prophecies of redemption tell us what they reflect what our deepest desires, to feel like we're home, a world of abundance, of no poverty, no suffering, no sickness, no death, no jealousy and competition, just collaboration, love, constantly learning more God from inside of us and outside of us and each other. Anyway, those are the things that we want to start putting consciously into our own lives. The summit will be a lot about that, and simultaneously into the world. And it goes together. And I've thought many, many times over the years, sorry, I have to get better at that. I'm not organized. Hi, JD. Hi, Kimberly, by the way. It takes people a while to come on, and I can't stay on very long this time. But feel free to help me, give me suggestions of how to get my act more together. I know you can do video previews, but I haven't quite figured out the text. So sometimes if I preview a video, then I can't start the video, whatever. It's just been really busy. Once the summit is over, it should be probably a little bit calmer. But trying to do things, go with the flow with it all. Anyway, many times over the past many years, actually, at least more like the past 30 years, but especially over the past few years, because we have so much technology, I just get when something comes our way, there's so much being projected at us to try to knock down our consciousness, to try to shut it off, right? So there's thanks, JD. So there's so many things being projected at us, and it's really easy, not so much for us in our soul tribe, but it's really easy for people, if you could say average people, like we say normies, it's really easy for people to be brainwashed out of fear, to people to be triggered. And a lot of people still, can't handle being scared. I don't like it either, but they go to authority. We know how it goes. We all know how it goes. And then there's that what's called mass formation, whatever. It's really easy to brainwash people. And it's really easy to do it through pumping out fear, weaponizing fear, demoralization. I heard this guy from the former Soviet Union. He was in the KGB or something. And you can find him online if you haven't seen him already. He describes how the process of how you take down a nation. And it starts with a long period of demoralization where values break down and people get discouraged, and it's just too hard to make anything work, with your kids, with your money, with your health. Well, that's been happening. And then at some point when that's like really at its peak, it's super easy to create a crisis and then just wrap everybody up. So thank God, despite all the horrific damage done, they failed. But it's still, there's a lot swirling around. So I feel that it's crucially important. And now launching out of Passover, and in the time of miracles, it's absolutely the right time to collectively get together and start projecting God's vision into the world. And not just like, oh, this is God's vision, but like to project goodness, to project love, to project empowerment, to project unity, to project support, to project hope, to project confidence about the future, visualization of what we desire. Anyway, the point is to put a conscious collective counter energy, pumping that into the system. By the system, I mean humanity and everything that goes with it. And that's if this flies, so it either will or won't. Like I've floated a lot of things in the past, and sometimes they'll fly and sometimes they won't. So I don't spend a lot of energy pushing something anymore. If it's going to work, it's going to work. But this could be amazing. So Humanity Rising, if it resonates with you, then let's just keep in mind to be in touch. We'll be talking about it more soon. Maybe have an open Zoom or whatever. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know about that as well. So that's about what I had to say today. Also, if you don't know, there's a custom of baking a challah, the Shabbat bread, on this Shabbat after Pesach, after Passover, and putting a key in it as a how do you translate segula? As a spiritual act that will promote prosperity for the coming year, prosperity, wealth. So if you can do that, it's great. If you can't do it, you can buy a challah and stick a key in it. And I can't do it because I still don't have a really working kitchen, but my sister-in-law, who I love very much, is going to make one for me. So just a suggestion. It's a great thing to do. Okay, guys, thank you so much. Keeping this one short, and I hope to be in touch with you soon. And let me know if the idea of the Humanity Rising, a collective effort to beam light and divine consciousness into the world in practical ways, and create a counterforce, a wave of goodness and redemption, then be in touch with me, be in touch with Gila. I have a feeling Gila will be part of this. Anyway, so that would be an awesome thing to do. And then again, if you want to sign up for the Miracles and Metamorphosis Summit, that starts Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, live, and then replays through the weekend. And you can go check that out. Sign up for free, but check it out at gateofunity.com/summit. Okay, guys.